Kokomi has had a turbulent release with the least day 1 sales in Genshin Impact. Recently, I unlocked her and her Passer weapon, and I'm going to give her my personal opinion and my analysis on Kokomi. In this video, I'm using Kokomi as an enabler in Taser comps. I did both floor 11 and 12 and managed to perfect 9-star them without much trouble. Keep in mind that these are not perfect runs, rather just runs that I got from recording, so these are not like the ideal situations for Kokomi, but rather just a more average and like what you'd expect from Kokomi. Okay, so just a quick TLDR. I don't think Kokomi is a terrible character in the game, but rather a pretty bad 5-star. She's perfectly capable of doing everything she's meant to do as a healer, and just like every other character, can clear any overworld or spiral abyss content. First off, Kokomi is really similar to Chi-Chi for me. She makes the game really easy once you invest a lot of healing bonus and HP into her. I only had to retry floor 11 chamber 3 once, and every other chamber I was able to do in one run. However, any other healer that's invested can do the same thing as Kokomi. What separates Kokomi and these other healers is that she takes a lot of on-field time, despite not being able to crit and be a real DPS. This unfortunately hurts Kokomi because you're going to be losing a lot of DPS, which is extremely important in Spiral Abyss. Basically, Kokomi comps only work if your sub DPSs are so well built that they can dish out damage of a main DPS while Kokomi is on the field. In the run that I'm doing right now, Beidou, Fischl, and Sing Cho, which we'll see later on in the video, do way more damage than Kokomi outputs. Kokomi is really only there to provide healing and enabling their reactions. Otherwise though, she's not really that important to these comps unfortunately, and could probably be replaced with someone like even Barbara or Child. Child outputs way more damage and AoE compared to Kokomi, which is way more important right now in Spiral Abyss, unless you're doing floor 11 where you need a healer. There are also other alternatives like Mona and Sing Cho, who both have the same Hydro output, and maybe even Barbara, who is a free 4-star, which you don't have to roll 76 to 150 pulls on. The only thing that separates Kokomi from the other Hydro Catalysts is, just like Sing Cho, she has 100% Hydro uptime. Unfortunately, Kokomi just feels out of place in the current meta right now, and even beyond that, just in Genshin Impact. She doesn't really fulfill a role that's new, it's not fresh or anything. Other people already compete with it, especially like Sing Cho and Child, and there's already been 2 other Hydro Catalysts than her. This is what I mean by Kokomi is terrible as a 5-star. Would you really spend $200 for Kokomi over someone like Barbara, who arguably fills the same role as Kokomi? Kokomi is definitely a better character than Barbara, but she doesn't do anything special apart from Barbara other than really her 100% uptime. Barbara can do the same thing that she does with maybe a bit slower, like 10 seconds slower at most. So I'm really just arguing, like, do you want to spend those 76 pulls on a character that is just slightly better than 4-stars that are competing with her? In fact, later in this video, in the description below, I actually do a Barbara run on Spiral Abyss 12.1 just to show that Barbara can do the same thing as Kokomi. And I don't even have her invested, I only had Barbara at level 60. Whereas in this video, Kokomi's level 80. Should you roll for Kokomi? The answer, honestly, is unless you like her, no. I'd rather just wait for Child in the next banner, because he does everything that Kokomi does, but better. Well, except for healing, obviously. But Kokomi is just not worth it right now, because you don't need that level of healing for that much of a DPS drop. However, if you can already do Spiral Abyss well, and you have strong supports, then Kokomi makes the game really easy, to be honest. Literally in these runs, I'm not dodging at all with her. I'm kind of just letting everything hit me because I'm so tanky and I heal so much. So, really, once you can beat Spiral Abyss, you can roll for anything you want. Now, I feel like because Kokomi takes on-field time, mihoyo should have gave her better HP scalings and also made her jellyfish like adjustable, like Fischl's Oz. Because since Kokomi takes on-field time, you're obviously going to be losing a lot of DPS, yet her ultimate does not give great DPS boost. So I feel like her HP scaling should have been way higher on her ultimate and her E ability. And Kokomi also maybe just lower her healing a bit, because healing's not that important in this game, so I think they should have sacrificed some healing on Kokomi, but just gave her some more attack. Also, having Kokomi as a 3rd Hydro Catalyst was kinda iffy, because we've already have Mona and Barbara, yet we only have 1 Hydro Bow and Hydro Sword character. So we don't even have like a Spear or Claymore Hydro character yet. So having Kokomi as a 3rd Hydro Catalyst character kind of ruined her position in Genshin Impact, because Barbara does what she does by healing, and then Mona has the off-field like Hydro application with the Omen stacks. Now as for team comps for Kokomi and how they feel, In the video I'm using Taser, obviously, and Taser actually feels really good if you have a really well-built Beidou, Fischl, and Xingqiu. My Fischl isn't that well built, she's more like a battery, but my Beidou and Xingqiu, at the end of the video you'll see, they have very good sub stats, and my Sucrose is also well built with like a lot of elemental mastery. So really these comps obviously only work if your supports are strong. Now there is one other team that works really well, and that's Morgana comp. This is the one team where Kokomi might actually be worth pulling for if you're missing a Hydro applicator like Mona. She has more Hydro application than Mona in Morgana team, so she can freeze for longer. And while you lose some DPS, the runs are a lot more comfortable, and you can still easily like perfectly clear Spiral Abyss even with a low invested Kokomi, just because of how much Hydro application she gets. Overall, I don't think Kokomi is complete utter garbage. However, she definitely is not worth it as a 5-star character. But if you get her by accident, then don't fret about it because she can still fill many roles in the game in many team comps. I do think that Kokomi needs a buff because her role is kind of like unambiguous right now, and she does make the game easy if you do have invested sub DPSs. However, if you don't have invested characters yet, you're better off just rolling for like a main DPS or maybe someone like Child, and then just relying on them for damage rather than trying to use Kokomi, because Kokomi in the end, despite taking on-field time, is not a good DPS or even should be a DPS in the first place. However, if you're using Kokomi just for her jellyfish and some like off-field like Hydro application, then she's not bad. She works well for freeze comps, maybe as a support for Xiangling. Not great for someone like Hu Tao or Yoimiya, but good for like Morgana, and yeah.